Hey everybody, welcome back to Visual Novel Book Club. I'm your pal Slowby. With me, of course, my good friend Devious Vacuum.
Howdy.
My good friend Jim.
Hey everybody.
My good friend Turbo C.
Hello.
My good friend Polohoko.
Hey ya.
And the dadliest thing I've done today is I had to do I put in a load of laundry, and I couldn't decide if it was medium or heavy, so I put the water level meter like right between, and I'm secretly kind of worried that was wrong. Anyway.
I got a weird like tangent to start us off with.
right.
Just for the sake of last session we talked about Scala, and I posited that it was dead a lot, and I still posit that. But I was looking up the other day, and I forget why, but I was for some reason on the article for Scooby-Doo episodes.
Somehow. You know how things go.
This is taking us on a journey right now.
Yeah, I mean, just another Saturday.
Every one of us has ended up there one day or not. And I found out that for one of the like more recent ones, I guess, maybe it was a movie or whatever, but the villain was an undead ska band. And I thought that was fucking hilarious, and they even had music, of course, for it, and it was amazing. But yes, if you needed any more evidence that Ska is dead, Scooby-Doo.
Wait, are they called Voodoo Daddies?
No, they are shit. Where did it come from? They are Rude Boy and Ska-tastics.
Oh, okay.
Which is, if you've never seen any ska bands, that is in line with every other ska band's name.
Yeah, Rude Boy is the most predominant, like, meme among the ska band names.
Also, you have to have some sort of, like, horrible ska pun in your name, so.
Yeah.
Like Communist Manifesto?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, just like that.
Yeah, I'll do it.
Like, Dream Daddy knows what it's doing with the music stuff. Like, they may not know everything, but they do know the music stuff.
Oh boy, and speaking of not knowing everything, this time we did Joseph's route. And we sure had a time.
Yes.
Joseph Christensen. Wow, what a first of all, what a literary method here with the naming of the whole family. That definitely didn't kill me every time I had to read it.
Like, if you're a kid of that, you're not going to be made fun of that in school at all.
I can't really call that an underlying theme.
Yeah. It's overlying.
No, it's very... I get the feeling that the folks who wrote this, didn't really... It's very, like, we're gonna talk about, like, the concept of religion without actually doing having a specific faith except for vague Christianity, and even then that's kind of, like, not... It was very weird. It was very, like, someone who doesn't know anything about religion writing about religion.
It felt like the sports bar dialogue, but with, like, Christianity.
Yeah.
Yeah. Uh-huh. Yep. 100%. And like, I get that they're trying to go for something, which is like, but their balance is either over the top Jesus references or, like barely acknowledging, like, oh, he's cool because he's sarcastic. Like, that's not the two parts of religion.
You know what was weird, too? I felt like at the start of the first date, and I'm not, like, getting right into it, but, like, I felt like I kind of figured where they were going to go, because our character is kind of like, our dad is like, he's kind of, like, inwardly awkward around the religious subject, so he's like, oh, I better not mention it. What if he makes mention of it? You know what I mean? And they don't really go that route at all, though, when you're actually, like, there on the dates, I feel like. Like, that was kind of brought up at the start, and then it just never really comes up, but not for good reason. Not like, I felt like it's not like Joseph's so cool that he makes you feel at ease. It just sort of dropped in a way.
Yeah, they really only bring it up as like a joke at the start of the date where, yeah, he does worry about what can he talk about, but also they just kind of play it for laughs, like, oh, what if I go in and they're praying over dinner around a bunch of weird art and porcelain dolls, and it's like, I don't know where you're going with this. I don't know. So,
like, I am pretty sure this was written by a person from America, and I'm looking at statistics right now. 95% of Americans who have a religious identity are Christians, so chances are, if you were growing up, it was in America, it was with a Christian family. So, like, you have a point of reference, whether it's Catholic, Protestant, or whatever. You don't have to pretend, like, whatever. Just fucking lean into it.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a little strange, because, I didn't speak to this, like, common cultural knowledge of, like, it's weird, because it talks about Jesus, but it doesn't, and it talks about the Bible, but, like, not really?
There is one joke which is with the nails and hammers, and that was all I got, and that was referencing to Jesus.
That was like a lot. I feel like that's I don't know that that joke was a lot.
Whatever.
I mean, I've heard some I've heard some devout Catholic and people like kind of make those sort of hammer nail jokes, usually better ones than that one.
Yeah.
That one was like kind of awkward in a way.
It was very awkward. It was like, wow, I sure have insert religion here. Like,
yeah,
so weird.
Like the one I like. Sometimes like I had cause I went to Catholic high school, so I had like one of the teachers like told a joke of like, what did Jesus say to the Roman soldiers? And I feel like when it's delivered like that, it's a joke, on your common ground. But like, I don't know, it just feels awkward the way Joseph delivers his. Again, not to like go ahead, but like. He says, like, you got a hammer, and it's like, oh, no, here, we're kind of weird about hammer and nails. And there's, like, this, like, pregnant sort of pause where it's like, what? And then it's like, I'm just kidding, but we just don't have a hammer. And it's like, I get it. And it's like, I don't know, it just comes across...
Like, it's one step removed from him just, like, looking into the cameras, like, you get it? Okay, here's what I'm talking about.
I feel like it came off more awkward than the writer intended it to.
Yeah.
And that's all. It's all a function of context. Like if you earn that joke, it's fine. It's not it's not great, but it's not a bad joke. It's just because they literally just didn't build up any sort of like contextual space for the religion to be in. So it's just like, oh, we don't talk about it, and then suddenly we make this joke, and then we stop talking about it.
Yeah.
I was like, if they're gonna do this, like, do more. Like, lean into the shitty jokes. Be like, oh, the Pontius Pilate light is off, or shit like that.
yeah, really. That would be good, actually. But I also feel like those kind of jokes are funnier with, like, the shared context of Christianity and, like, the stories and the background and everything like that. And this also tried to, like, not... I feel like it tried really hard not to assume that you knew anything about the Christian faith, like, at all. And
I get that, but, like, I feel like through cultural osmosis, through, like, if you're living in America, you've probably heard of Pontius Pilate before, even if you don't really understand what the fuck that is.
Also, there's only so much you can do. You made a character that's a youth minister.
Yeah.
If you're not prepared to write that, make him be anything else.
Yeah, this kind of kills me because they do have some funny jokes in this chapter, but every time they try to, like, tie in the religious thing to make a joke for it, it just falls flat.
Like, last episode, we were kind of talking about, like, almost like, as like a quick aside, like, the nun kind of joke, like, fetish or whatever it is, or, I don't know,
Nunsploitation is what you called it.
Exactly, that's it. And I felt like this was kind of supposed to be playing to some kind of, not fetish, but, like, it's like, some kind of thing that, like, you might see in a romance novel of, like, oh, somebody is, like, that kind of thing.
It's like a character archetype, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, you're dating a married man. That's the way it is. And it's all the taboo kind of thing.
Yes. Thank you. Exactly.
Although, you know what? Because this is the taboo route, which, like, every visual novel has at least one, right? I was really ready and, like, buckled down to have this be, like, some kind of problem with, like, closeted gay priest, right? And at least it wasn't that. He never proclaimed to be straight. He is married to a woman, but it's not that, thank goodness. But, like, the implication is a hair's breadth away, and I was really worried.
He's very hard line of, like, he is happy with his marriage to Mary, when, like, you see, his first thing within the dad book, everything is like, what's your favorite date to go on? Oh, anything with my wife, whom I love so much and would do anything for. And, like,
my beautiful wife. Oh, that's my ideal. But my turn on is my beautiful wife. Yeah, okay.
So, I was kind of thinking that they were going to turn this sort of taboo thing into, like, you'd be worried about Joseph being this, like, kind of, like, white bread, like super conservative, not politically, but you know what I mean? Like someone who's like kind of standoffish and you don't know how to deal with, but actually he's pretty cool, kind of like shattering that sort of religious stereotype in a way. And I feel like maybe instead Dream Daddy wrote itself into like a bit of a landmine area and wasn't quite sure how to navigate everything. So you end up with these like half-baked sort of directions toward things, if that makes sense.
I'd almost prefer if they did sort of lean into like that, like sort of conservative viewpoint of like you grew up conservative, but also you're a bit bi, and like, you know, now you have to deal with this sort of like conflicting ideologically and stuff. Like, I would have preferred that a bit more than what they had for Joseph.
I guess what I meant more is, like, if you would expect to date, like, a stereotypical, like, Catholic youth minister character, you would expect them to say, like, I want to bring cookies to the bake sale, and that's all I'm about. There's no backstory. There's no Margaritaville that comes up later. There's no sailing. There's no any of that. Like, and it's like they're trying to present a character. No, he's actually kind of cool. He is kind of funny. He is sarcastic. He's not super uptight or anything like you would expect that person to be. So on the one hand, it's like, okay, I get it. They're presenting this character to sort of break out of that. But then, yeah, it's like, wait, now you're kind of going into, like, adultery sort of things. You're going into, like, the Catholicism sort of thing, but not really. You're going into that. There's, like, a lot of... It's like, I kind of get the direction that they started in, but I feel like it got a little lost at some point.
Yeah, there's a lot that we sort of cursory go into at the very top level, but never really. But maybe let's just start it off. Yeah, let's talk about the dads. I decided, since I was a little bit late on this recording, that I needed to hurry along, and I just went with standard default dad, no changes whatsoever. I didn't even look for a name, so it was Dad McDad. And let me tell you, that is fucking confusing when they say dad at different points. They're like, nice being a dad. Like, do you mean my name, or... Yeah, so that sucked.
I couldn't think of a name for my dad, so I named him Joseph Hunter. The problem here being when you have both characters named Joseph, that is a little confusing, because if they made any remark about them having the same name, I did miss it. And they're just, I mean, you can tell who's speaking because your dad's like appears, but still sometimes it's just like, and then Joseph said, and I'm like, fuck, and I had to spend that little extra mental energy parsing it. Anyway.
I made a real good dad this time. I wanted to make a type of guy who, you know, looks like he would date someone who was married, and the randomly generated name that I got from the random name generator website was Tristan Assendorp. And wow, he sure is.
I could see that, yeah. I posted a bunch of screenshots in our Discord for, podcast reasons, so... Is your dad's up above? Yeah, I see.
Yeah, it was way up there. Yeah,
gotcha. I'm scrolling up. Nice.
So
yeah, there's Tristan. Yep, good. Yes, that is.
I just posted my dad, which is Man Bun Dad, and I was kind of I wanted to make him a little bit, like, hey, I'm the kind of guy who would date the Abercrombie and Fitch looking motherfucker who's like our guy, and I said Devin Horncastle. Because I figured that was the most obvious dick joke I could make.
I almost wish that you could, like, they had, like, Joseph or Matt's clothes in the game, so you could just, like, make Matt or Joseph with just, like, a slightly different body type. Yeah.
Yeah. They need the Sims version of, like, I think we've talked about this before, but they need, like, Sims version of different dad outfits for different dad adventures.
Yeah, you need a couple different outfits. That would be nice. And we're back!
We are.
Where did we go?
Pulahoko lost his audio last week, so we had to, like, redo.
Yeah.
No, I'm kidding. It was. You're just gonna roll with that?
Look, I don't care. It's like, do you really think, oh no, Slow Beef's mad at me?
Bullying. Bullying is wrong, everyone.
It's, no, I lost. Somehow my audio stopped recording. I think I ran out of hard drive space, and, anyway.
Like the dads say, if you get kicked off the horse, you gotta get back on.
That's right. So, where were we?
Pulahoko needs to talk about his dad.
Oh.
Yeah. Pola, tell us about the dad you made for this run.
Oh, yeah. So I actually wanted to make a dad that, like, the one before, I just kind of went blank slate, which, a couple interesting things, if you go completely blank, your first name defaults to Dad, and your last name defaults to McDad, I believe. And this time around, I just kind of closed my eyes and clicked around, and got this kind of weird-looking dad, and I just named him Byron Burpulus, because he looks like a Byron Burpulus.
He really does.
And that's it.
So, into Joseph's route. So, first, the preamble. What new things did we do in the preamble relevant to Joseph? For example, the going to the bar. If you did, we talked to Mary at the bar. I talked to Mary at the bar.
I did too.
Yes.
Also, the bar line is, "Say, are you Jim or Kim? I'm Neil."
Right.
It's a good line.
Yeah.
But you get a chance to ask Mary what her deal is. I asked her what's going on, and she said that she's a ghost, and was generally like very rude and kind of sarcastic. And I bought her a drink.
And did it just fall down onto the seat because she's actually a ghost, or?
Would, like, go through her and get all over the floor.
Oh yeah, she drank it, and it just yeah.
No, it levitated. It was like, whoa.
At this point, like, you don't know who she is, and like, I don't know. I could see like an interpretation of it where this is like kind of funny and charming, like in a cynical kind of way. But it's like, you know, somebody who has the guts to be that like openly cynical toward you at the very first time you ever meet them. Like, you could say like, oh, okay, sure, we're doing this now.
Yeah, we kind of get into this later, but just from every kind of design aspect that's put forward, it's just like she's clearly represented as the villain. Like, even down to her color palette, which is like really muted and not... It's just very dark.
It's very like kids' cartoon, evil stepmom kind of thing.
Yeah, it's like when she comes onto the screen, it's like she's twirling her mustache and everyone is booing and hissing.
I mean, her sprite has a wine glass in it, so...
It's very theatrical.
Yeah, and it's also kind of like... I don't know what this game is doing in response to particularly Mary's drinking, because the amount that she is drinking, like, she's drinking at the barbecue and she's drinking at a bar. There's nothing inherently wrong with drinking at a party and a bar, but they talk about the wine all the time. She's always holding it, and it's a little like I don't know where it lands. Like, it feels like it's a moral judgment on drinking at all, rather than alcoholism.
I think they wanted to make a wine mom and sort of failed at that.
I mean, it's tricky because... Alright, so to be totally fair, you, as in you, the player, can have a beer, and that's fine. And we've had I feel like we've had a beer with Craig, maybe, or maybe not. I may be misremembering that. I feel like there are instances of drinking in the game where it's fine. But the two big things, we have Mary with the wine glass everywhere, and while she's supposed to be watching her kids, then she takes like a big swig of it at the barbecue, which is like pointed out. And Joseph, who's drinking fucking like whiskey out of a, you know what I mean? Like,
oh, Robert.
Not Joseph, Robert, yeah.
Robert, I'm sorry, Robert. So, it's
Joseph,
like,
that heavy drinker.
Yeah, I mean, like, I kind of feel you where it's like, I don't know where they're going yet. It's like, is this problem drinking that they're gonna bring up? Is it like a coping thing, you know, or what?
Or is it just another, like, this person's bad?
Right. But I don't think I have enough information right now to like really know where they're going with it.
Yeah. Also, in her voice clips, don't they kind of do like a little bit of the like, she's a little bit sloshed? Or is that just me?
Oh, I don't remember. I feel like she's just more angry. Like, she's just bitter at you. She doesn't, like, slur anything.
Yeah, I don't think I haven't seen either of them drunk yet, like, or anyone, I guess, right? So it's yeah. So if that was in there, I didn't catch it, but like, yeah, that's it. I mean, I feel like there's something there, but I can't quite know where to land on it.
Yeah, I feel like they're going for sort of self-medication kind of stuff or escapism, like somebody who's just like trying to escape their problems via alcohol, but they're just, you know, they're dipping their toes in the water and not committing to it. So it's kind of like one of those things where you're like, I don't know what they're doing, but
yeah,
you know.
like Robert, like absolutely, you can see there's like some coping thing going on.
Yeah,
there's some, you know, yeah, and yeah, maybe with Mary, we don't, yeah.
So yeah, you talk to Mary at the bar, if you go to the bar, and let's see, is there anything else? Slow Beef, your dad had the same first name, because he was Joseph, and the game didn't do anything special, which is unfortunate. I feel like they should at least have the character be like, that's a great name, or some, dad joke like that.
To be totally fair, like when he came over, I kind of advanced quickly through that because I figured I'd seen the scene without thinking. Possible I missed it, but I don't think so for whatever. Like I feel like I was skimming it and it didn't pop out to me. Yes, I named if I didn't mention it, I named my character Joseph Hunter, which was clever, I thought at the time. However, when you're actually playing, is a little bit confusing. You know, when you're speaking, your character like. A picture of your character is next to the dialogue box, so you can kind of tell contextually, like, when people are talking to Joseph and who responds and things like that, but it was really a bad idea. Just, I wouldn't recommend it.
It was better on paper.
So, let's see. What happens next? Let's talk a little bit about Joseph in the beginning of the game, just to kind of remind ourselves. Joseph, when you first meet him, comes over to introduce himself and bring you some cookies. You both fuck it up really badly. And he just leaves and knocks on the door again and does a hard reset, which is like such a
dad thing.
It's such a power move, honestly. Like it's such a like it, but it's good. It's like a really sincere gesture of friendship, right? To be like, let's just start over.
Well, we also kind of pointed out that Joseph was the only one who actually came to the house to see the new neighbor, so he's putting the effort. Yeah,
I feel like it's like a really nice gesture, actually, to like do that whole reset thing. It's like, anyway, it's a little bit of that, like, that he works with kids. He's a youth minister, and he has this like ability to handle social situations, like that is believable.
Yeah, that youth ministers are known for.
Exactly, they're not at all, right? Which is why, like, I like that he's like that. It's like, he's a youth minister, and it's positive, it's not a joke. And then at the same time, his name is Joseph, his wife's name is Mary, his children's names are Christopher, Christian, Christina, and Krish, and his last name is Christensen, and the whole thing feels like placeholder names that were not replaced. I think if you really wanted to be Bible, name your children Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, have them all be boys. I am from South Texas. I am pretty sure I have met families that have that naming arrangement.
Yeah, this is coming back to me now. It's like Dream Daddy handles religion very strangely. Like, they kind of want to have it be a big joke, which for, a while it is, but then they just kind of drop that entirely. So, I don't know.
Yeah, it seems like they don't really know what to do with religion. So our character is not religious and is a little bit intimidated by how religious Joseph and his family are. And again, like, I don't really know where it ultimately falls in terms of how the overall narrative like views religion. It's kind of ambiguous because our character is very uncomfortable with it. And Joseph and his family's names are, like, so stereotypical and, like, it's like a joke. Like, it's like, really? Like, these are the names? Really? In a way that none of the other families are named that way. Like, even, like, Damien and Lucian are not, like, this, like, almost a joke name.
Yeah, it would be like if Damien's name was Vlad.
Yeah. It's like, really?
His kid's name was Impaler.
Yeah. or Soma Cruz.
Right.
Yeah, so it's like a little intense, like, so it makes it seem like, oh, is it going to be making fun of religion? But it doesn't really. It just kind of, exists, and our character at first is kind of uncomfortable about it, but then isn't, and it just kind of drops it, and it feels a lot like they started writing this thing and didn't know how to handle it, but like didn't want to change that the character was a youth minister. And it has like a feeling of like not really knowing how religion works in a way that like your average American has an understanding of Christianity just by growing up in America, right? Because they're fucking everywhere. So there's like a little bit of like you can give me some of that. Like you can do a little bit more if you're gonna do this.
I feel like it got a little lost. Like I think we talked about this last time, in the lost audio, how everybody check, it's still going, right? I know. It feels like they're trying to play with that taboo sort of thing going on where Joseph is married and he's like religious and it's like that nun fetish, which whatever. That kind of thing.
And I don't know if we already said this or not, but like because he's a youth minister and he's married and he's straight married, and we're a dad dating dads, it really felt like it was going to set it up to be like gay taboo in the church where everyone's homophobic, and that is not at all what happens. And for that, great. Good job. Thank you. Thank you for not making me go through that.
So then, but what you are left with then is like this sort of thing where you get in, your character is awkwardly uncomfortable with religion, but that's kind of it. Then it doesn't really crop up again.
Yeah, as soon as Joseph, reveals himself to be like a really kind of down-to-earth person that's not like Jesus all the time, they kind of just drop it entirely.
Like what happens is your first date with Joseph after you talk to him on Dad Book, which Amanda helps you write.
Yeah, Amanda, we're so weirded out about the religion thing, and even Amanda says to us, Dad, please don't be weird about the religion thing. It's so odd. Like, I have no, as someone who was raised with religion, I don't know where this character is coming from. Like, I can't really, relate to this ambiguous, secular background.
So, I will say this, though. I kind of got it at first, because, and again, I was also raised religious, but I not super, religious. I don't know, whatever.
I think we talked about before that we're all fucking Catholic, so whoops.
Yeah, so, we're all raised Catholic, but, but I kind of get it in the sense of where, if it was a normal sort of dating sim per se, or I should say, if this were a dating sim as in to say the first date was like a clear romantic intention, and someone invited you to say like a prayer group, or like that would be like a little more like, okay, that's a little interesting. Like I don't know where this is going. And I think that's kind of where they're going for, where Joseph invites you over to his house to help bake cookies for the church bake sale, or brownies, I forget.
Chocolate chip cookies.
Chocolate chip cookies, thank you, yeah.
But like, the activity you're doing is baking, not praying. They are for the church, but like, there's no praying that even ever happens.
But like, yeah, no, and I'm with you there. I think what I'm saying is that's what I think they were kind of going for. But it's a little, doesn't quite work there. You know what I'm getting at? Like I've seen that like joke before somewhere where it's like, I'm going on a date with someone. Oh, it's at a prayer group. Now this is going to be awkward. That kind of thing. So I get that, but it's still like, it doesn't fit quite right here.
Yeah, because without the awkwardness of actually praying, like, I feel like that's where the awkwardness happens, right? Is that, like, you're with somebody and they're like, let's all pray together. And you're like, ugh.
Yeah, would you like to pray with me? Or, yeah.
Yeah. Right. Or it's like, hey, do you want to go to the ceremony? It's like, oh shit, I was raised Episcopalian. I don't know the stand-up kneeling thing and all that,
Whew, man, those are bad jokes, so I'm glad they don't go there, because that's very Big Bang Theory. That's like, oh, Sheldon's going to church.
Yeah. No, but yeah, alright, so like, okay, so what happens then is, like, you get there, and then Chris opens the door, and your character does this, like, blurt out, like, how about that Jesus or something,
It's really bad. It's, like, not a thing anyone would say, and it's not funny. Right. It's just, like, a weird, like, meme-y, jokey thing to say.
Yeah. I can't remember the metaphor I used, but I feel like they're wandering somewhere, like, and they couldn't figure their way back, Like, it's just, like, they struck out in this writing direction and they were kind of too far in to drop it all together, but they didn't quite know where they wanted to go with it. So you end up with these sort
There's
of
like a route where it could be like really heavily like making fun of religion, right?
Right.
Like, how about them Jesus? Joseph Christensen, like that kind of bullshit.
Do you know what it's like? It's like they brought loaves and fish for like 10 people, but like 100 showed up, and then there was just nothing they could do.
See, that's a joke that would be good in this game, right? Like, and it's stuff like that that's missing. And it feels like there was more oscillation in terms of how this was handled, that it like got cut down to be like more general. And maybe not, like, maybe I could see, like, a first draft that like, was more problematic or, like, might offend people, who were very religious, who might be playing.
Yeah.
Who's very religious is playing this game, though? I don't
Nobody.
know.
Not a one.
Nobody.
Not a one. This game did not sell well in Utah, I'll tell you that right off the bat.
Yeah, like, what? So, and then it's like, there are a lot of queer people, like yours truly, who comes from a background that's very religious, and you have that, like, being queer in the South type of thing, and you could have gone that direction maybe with Joseph, of like, he could have made more bread and fish jokes. You could have done that instead of how about them Jesus.
Right.
Like, there is a cultural, like, I keep going back to, we talked about this in the Lost episode, but there's, this is an sort of American-based game where the majority religion is Christianity. You can't really go about in this area, within this country, without getting some cultural osmosis of what is going on. So you can still make jokes about it, and it's, like, I don't think it's culturally insensitive to make those sorts of things. So, like, they just sort of cheaped out on that.
Not for the audience. Like, it's a gay dating sim. Like, come on.
I think my take on it, I think, is that, like, this is a high budget game, right? I mean,
Come on, go Sodom and Gomorrah.
the more money you put in, the more people get involved. And that means the more chance there's producers who are, and then somebody raises their hand and say, I think I'm getting a bad read out of this part's a little too controversial. I think we should dial it back. And, when money and contracts get involved with shit, then, like, people get skittish around, like, that sort of thing. And it's like, come on, it's enough that we're making, like, the gay dating sim and not, like, doing all that, We don't need to bring religion into this, too. That's, like, too edgy, for TV kind of thing.
Yeah. Well, then the mistake is making the character be a youth minister, right? Like, he could be, like, the scout troop leader and fill a similar role without being religious.
That's, oof, yeah, I would not touch a scout troop leader who's gay with a 10-foot pole. Nope.
Oh, no. No.
Yeah. That's the same thing, though, right? Like, I mean, it's the same kind of, like, oh, like, what? Like, because there's been some kind of controversy, or there is some kind of hate in the real world about that thing. But it's the same for saying youth minister. And they keep calling him a priest. He's not a priest. They keep calling him a priest, and there's a real life thing that references also.
Well, they do correct, because it's only the main character. It's only Dad who continuously does this, and again, it's part of his weird, religion. I don't understand religion at all, and I'm really awkward about religion. So at least it's still just more in keeping in whatever the heck they're trying to do with that particular part of the narrative.
And I don't, what else could he have been? Because, like, Craig is the softball coach. He could be the mayor. What is, like, a community leader type of situation?
Just be the rich white guy in the neighborhood, because we go on his yacht later.
Yeah, he could be a community leader without having an explicit title as well. Yeah.
Or he could be, like, a prayer group leader type of person without, like, any sort of...
Yeah, like a deacon thing. Yeah, you could totally be like, hey, I play an important role in my church, and I am very religious, but I'm also not, stereotypically religious. Which I think is what they're going for, but it's just, some of this doesn't land.
I think, yeah. I mean,
To go back to Slow Beef's point there, though, about like someone up there saying saying no to something, that would make sense if this wasn't just like done in-house by the Game Grumps. Like, there's... First off, I don't think any of them would be like, let's tone it back a little bit. But there's no, like, like, cultural studies or whatever, the beta test focus groups to be like, oh, this didn't receive well, so let's do that. It's just...
Alright, I mean, I'll maybe agree this wasn't necessarily focus grouped, but I'm still going to contend, when you have this much money changing hands, there's people watching out. And, like, no matter how much we want to say this was done in-house, this was very clearly a top-tier production.
This is good, yes. It doesn't feel like just a throwaway game. It feels like there's a lot of... There was money involved in development involved.
I think that Let's Play money, that moolah...
But that's what I'm saying, though. The more money's changing hands, the more stakeholders there are. So there's someone out there. There's more chance of someone saying, I don't feel great about where we're going with the religion angle here. And it's like, well, we're already like 50% through. The art assets are drawn up. We have voice, and it's like, okay, where do we go from here? There's no comfortable place to land this, but we've already taken off. So you kind of just like have to dial it back, and you end up with this sort of like not quite baked, like hors d'oeuvre sort of platter.
That's really what it feels like. Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm not saying, again, I'm not saying that's exactly what happened, because I don't fucking know. I'm just saying that's what it feels like. That's the Slow Beef read.
It just feels half-baked. Yeah, in a lot of... for one reason or another. But it feels like not quite able to commit one way or the other.
It's like the writers got punished by God, and then when they asked God why they were punished, there wasn't like a super clear answer. And maybe that book wasn't quite translated right. It's like a whole thing. All right, anyways.
These are the primo Catholic jokes here in our podcast that would have been better in the game.
I will say, though, I based that joke on When Bad Things Happen to Good People by Rabbi Harry Kushner, which, by the way, is a great book.
So, let's see, where were we?
I think we're just now stepping into the house.
Yeah, awkward conversation with Christopher.
Yeah, so it was after the how's the Jesus, and Chris says, you're weird, and
he walks away. He just walks the fuck away, which is great. We deserve that. Joseph arrives and invites us in. We encounter the twins. We have a much better interaction with them than in Craig's route, where they're just like horrible gremlins that want to torture animals or like stuffed animals to death. They're trying to be creepy, and we tell them different things to say from different movies, different horror movies, and even Joseph thinks it's funny, and they do like that little kid thing where like they don't know what they're doing, but they know it's making the adults laugh, so they keep doing it. And it overall is like a very cute. Like, I don't know why Joseph is trying to stop himself from laughing in front of his children, but he can't help it, and it's very sweet.
Yeah, I think part of that is that he's trying to discourage this behavior.
Yeah,
and he's like, oh yeah, the mom's making them weird, and they don't need to be doing this in public. And then he's just like, I can't encourage it, but also like, he keeps suggesting like lines from Children of the Corn and stuff, and it's like, oh, this is actually funny, so he's laughing. And the kid, you get a really feeling from the kids that like they really enjoy making their dad laugh, especially.
Yeah.
And that there's a connection there that we haven't seen before from like, you know, when our sort of other stereotypical interactions with Joseph and his kids when they were weird.
At least that's the impression that we get from the younger kids. From the older kid, like, we got into it a little bit in the last episode, or the lost episode, but I had the impression that he is just kind of on, like, the younger ones are kind of too young to know what's going on between like Joseph and Mary and their problems, but the older one is kind of old enough to understand that something's not right and is just miserable because of it.
Yeah, what is he, like 12, 11?
Yeah, like
yeah.
I guess some people read it as him just like being shy, but from the art he just looks done with everything, and yeah.
He looks like a bitter 15-year-old when he's actually 12.
Yeah.
So that feels like a kid who's witnessed his parents not doing well with their relationship.
Yeah, he's very tired. He has a bad attitude, for sure. But the other children are very young.
They hit on this kind of marital problems between Joseph and Mary pretty early on. When we go into the house, there's like a period of time where we're waiting in like the welcoming area while Joseph's in the kitchen doing something, and you can look and there's like different versions of the Bible, like all kind of like the teen version, like the manga version for like all
Extreme
of this.
Teen Bible.
Yeah, the Pokemon version. And then there's like I think it's like some kind of jewelry or a necklace that's like on the
silver
ground.
necklace, yeah.
Yeah, and the game like goes out of its way to point that out and say like there's a story here, but it's none of our business.
We call that Chekhov's necklace.
And it's never brought up again.
It's good. I like that. It's true. Also, we can't skip over the fact that if we examine the shelf of books, there's a higher shelf, apparently out of the reach of children, in which is a book called Hot Body Johnson's Sex Detective.
Right, yes, the romance novels.
Oh,
and
yeah.
There are wine stains on the romance novels, so we're like, oh, these must be Mary's, which is I don't think Mary has earned that level of shade so far in the game.
Not so far.
But yeah, it's romance novels up there, which are funny, and we're like, I don't know, it's definitely like setting up. There are some problems with faith. There are some problems with marriage in this household, and we head to the kitchen to help Joseph make the cookies finally, and the girl twin is there, Christy, and we do like a little fight with Joseph with like spoons, and he like tickles her and is like, oh, I'm the Spider King, I've got you captured, and we like have a duel, and we're like, oh, we rescued you, and it's very cute, like little kid kind of make believe.
For like everything else in Joseph's life that seems like he's in shambles and he's just putting on a good face, it does seem like he has a good relationship with his kids.
Yeah, and he's like, the main character also, like, our dad talks about how Joseph has like really good control over his children, like, because they are so young, that he is good at like keeping them where they need to be so they don't like break things or get in trouble, and like even though they're not all in the same room, he's like always aware of where they are and stuff like that.
Yeah, kid wrangling.
That kind of like awareness of a parent with young children. So it's not like he's ignoring them or anything. So that's good. And we make some brownies. Oh, right. Chocolate chip cookies were what they made before. Brownies are what we're making now. And it is implied that Christy has already ruined the batter by dumping a bunch of extra chocolate in it. And
sugar.
So we're like, and sugar. And we're like, well, that's not going to work. So I guess we have to start from the beginning. And somehow the box has disappeared.
Yeah, the box just conveniently gets taken away.
Yeah, and so did Christy. Weird. And and so we have to make the brownies by ourselves, or us and Joseph have to figure it out, and we do. It's not that hard.
I'm surprised this wasn't a mini game.
I know, that would have been great, right?
That would have been a really good minigame.
A Cooking Mama minigame. There's a lot of cute, like, this game has such cute mini games in it too. Like, I especially like that not all of them like have a goal. Like, it's just like an experience you have and then it's over, like the piano one.
Yeah.
Oh, I love it. But so we make the brownies and we're all done. We finally did it. And afterwards, Joseph has some brownie batter on his nose, and we go over and wipe it off for him, like with our hand, and like then like eat it, and he blushes, and it's a lot.
What do the kids say? That's a thirsty move.
Really?
No.
Is that what the kids say?
I think that's what they say.
They say it's a thirsty move?
Oh yeah, is it?
Come on, like that's a move you do. Like either you do it staring right in that person's eyes, you know, or you're just slovenly. That's the only other way that comes out, where you're just so goddamn hungry you have to eat that drop of frosting right now, unless you're doing that eye stare of I just did that. what are you gonna do about it, handsome? You know.
Well, it's like a move of dominance.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know, but I mean, I don't know. I'm not saying like they're gonna fight or.
It's a power move. Yeah, I don't know. Certainly not with someone you just recently met.
No!
Like, friend of several years? Perhaps. Not someone you met, like, last week.
We went, like, from, like, oh my, like, are you into Jesus? Oh, I don't know! And then, like, let's fuck, baby, like, in, like, 5 minutes.
It would be inappropriate on the first date to be like, oh, let me wipe this off your face and then we'll lick it.
Oh, that's very true.
Rude.
It's not even to date. His kids are in the next room. One just walked out. Like, holy shit. Put it back in your pants, Dad. You know?
I guess I could see a read of it that it's like, you know, you're baking, you're like in kind of parent mode, and you're not thinking about it that way until it's too late. I don't know.
That's not how it's portrayed, though. It's portrayed as he recognizes immediately what you're doing.
I mean, I don't know. I read it when Joseph's blushing. I think I kind of agree with the read of, like, I didn't mean it as in, yo, let's get on the floor of this kitchen right now. But I don't know how else you would read something like that outside of I'm very slovenly.
And we don't really get into it. We're just embarrassed, and that's it. We don't overanalyze this, unlike all the other things that we do.
Like what we're doing right now. Yeah.
Yeah, but our main character often overanalyzes his own actions, and he does not in this case. So we head to the bake sale. Joseph explains that the bake sale is money to repaint the pews, which Ernest, who's Hugo's son, had spray painted with his rap name, Young Steinbeck. And the best joke in Joseph's route, in my opinion, is that our dad says that Young Man in the Sea would be better. And then Joseph talks to us about Margaritaville.
Oh, God. Well, I mean, we go through this thing of, like, we're actually selling our brownies, and the whole dealing with each, like, we deal with Matt and Carmencita. We are apparently good brownie salesmen, so we make the effort there. And then, of course, Brian comes over, and you have a choice to either engage with Brian's ridiculous statement that he's going to eat 10 brownies, and then, you just let it go. You don't get competitive with Brian. And then, like, there's the whole thing where, like, that just, the whole Jimmy Buffett thing just apparently is going to be a theme today.
Yeah, so another theme that Joseph has in his route is, like, Jimmy Buffett and Margaritaville. And while in between selling these brownies, he's like, we make some jokes about, he's like, they, like, sort of work their way around, like, saying Jimmy Buffett explicitly so that it's not, like, copyright infringement. But it's that. And he's like, I wish I could go, I wish I could just, like, throw all my worries away and go back to this carefree lifestyle from before I was married and have kids, I guess. And our character's reaction to it, to our credit, is always, like, something along the lines of, well, it's nice to have a vacation sometimes, but it's also, those vacations are what help us be better as parents and during the rest of our lives. And, like, we're never like, yeah, I wish I could run away from my problems too. But we also want to encourage him to take breaks. Like, we're like, no, you should. Like, you should take breaks. It's important to take breaks.
We're a very chill dad in all routes.
Yeah.
Also, I like that the dramatic tension in most of these routes is, no, but I'm too good a dad. I need to stop being too good a dad.
How can I be a better dad? Like, you have to just calm down, okay?
I do like that because we are, like, everybody's a parent and, further along in their lives. And so there's a lot of messiness that, like, the humility of, it's like the humility of having children and being, going through and having this experience. And it's like, there are some things that we're not going to have as problems anymore because we're grown up. And I do like that about this.
Right. And also, like, I'm joking, but it's anticipating problems before they start. Like, it's getting there before you have that bad scene because you pushed yourself too far. It's like, hey, I'm recognizing this early. Let's watch out for this.
Yeah. So after we have sold all the brownies, we do a great job. We sell brownies to everyone, even Craig. and Mary comes over to collect the money and is immediately mean to us and bored with us and, like, all this stuff. She tries to get us to say that we think that the church people are bad and weird. But we have no reason to do that because they haven't been bad or weird. And we just say something like, it's like a non-committal. It's not like, oh yeah, they're creepy, but it's not like, oh, I love church. It's like something in the middle.
I think you can say either one in this section, because I do remember saying they're weird, and it's just like, yeah, they're a unique group.
But we don't have any weird church experiences, which is also weird. Like, there's nobody that comes up and is like, tries to evangelize us or something.
No. Honestly, we're the weirdest person after that frosting incident.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And the Jesus. Honestly, just the whole day we fucked up, if we're being frank. But
yeah, like, no one has come up to us and tried to, and, like, talk to us about Jesus. Not even Joseph. So, I don't know. Which
is great, because our dad is a huge Ricky Gervais fan and would just go straight into the rant.
God. What else?
Have you guys heard he doesn't really believe in God?
Really?
There are 3,599 gods that you don't believe in, and I don't believe in the extra one. I'm crazy!
Wow.
I don't know. I follow Carl Pilkington more.
Alright. So.
It's funny that, like... Oh, sorry.
No, I was going to go back to the game, so do your tangent.
Let's do our total Ricky Gervais tangent. That's the rest of the podcast, folks. Hopefully we're still recording.
It's ironic, I find, though, that, like, Carlos Mencia got, like, so much shit for ripping off other comedians, and now there's so many comedians doing the whole, I'm just saying it, I'm just telling it like it is bit, and then he's just, like, kind of has, like, a tear rolling down his cheek, like, I was doing that earlier.
Yeah, if only people didn't steal his jokes, I'm sure he'd be a lovely person.
Wait, Carlos Mencia or Ricky Gervais?
Yes.
Or Joseph? Okay. Nice. Anyway.
Okay. So, Joseph and Mary have, like, a whole moment. Like, it's very, like, she's like, oh, you're so good at pretending to be happy. Like, he's better at pretending to be happy. Well, I'm not happy. And,
yeah, they have this little moment where, you know, Mary comes into the scene and she's rude and kind of nasty, and then Joseph is kind of doing that, like, gritting his teeth, and he's like, not now, honey. And she's like, oh, sorry, I'm supposed to be pretending to be happy. Okay, I gotcha.
Damn.
For no reason. Like, nothing has gone wrong. They haven't seen each other all afternoon.
I don't know, maybe she saw us do the little, like, brownie batter thing, and that's where it all started. Maybe she was just hiding behind the corner and saw that.
We'll find out later why she's already suspicious of us.
Yeah.
It's because she's drinking! Oh.
But she is already suspicious of us. And, she also is there, she's only there to collect the money, and she, like, makes a joke about how she's gonna rob us, and, it's uncomfortable. Mary seems like if she wasn't, like, so bitter that she would actually be a funny, witty person to be around, which is a shame. But I like that characterization of her comes through, that, like, you can kind of get a hint of, like, who she might be if she weren't in such a bad situation.
Yeah.
I kind of get the feeling, again, that, like, they're sort of playing around with, like, you're not supposed to feel too bad about, trying to, like, hook up with Joseph, even though he's technically with Mary, by making her a bad person.
And it doesn't work. It's still bad.
It's not quite.
Yeah, I got thoughts. I mean, at the end, we can talk about it, but I got thoughts.
And just in general right now, with being like, oh God, why does she have to be this way? Let's put this in context. She's right. She is absolutely right. This is a dating sim where you are trying to date that dad, which is her husband. So yeah, she should be pissed off.
Yeah.
Right. This would be a lot better, I think, if they were divorced. Or, like, separated or something, right?
Yeah.
You know.
So that whole awkward thing happens. Mary leaves, and the dialogue choice that we choose is to offer Joseph a brownie and not say anything about it, as a way of saying, hey, it looks like things are fucked up between you and your wife, and I'm sorry, but I'm not going to embarrass you by asking about it at this bake sale. And we go home. We drop him off at his house, and he gives us the last brownie. And in a like, I can't eat this, it's bad to keep eating all these brownies, so now it's your problem, and we like laugh about it, and you can either choose. You have a moral choice at this point. You can go renegade and eat the brownie, or you can go paragon and save it for later.
Yo, and I'm going to tell you something. I saved it for later, not for those reasons, but because the gamer instinct came in, and I thought I might get an achievement for it. And even though I know full well there's that secret Joseph ending that you can't get, which we'll probably discuss at some point, I still was like, maybe the cookie is the brownie is the key, and no one's thought of it. And therefore I kept the brownie, but we give it to Amanda later anyway.
Yes, I kept it so that I could give it to Amanda, and we can.
Yep, we do. There's no choice in that.
Yeah, give her the brownie. So Amanda gets a brownie too.
I ate it immediately.
Yeah, of course.
Another thing that in the Lost recording we got into a big tangent on was that Brian's favorite part of the brownie is the edge pieces.
Oh God!
yeah.
Yeah.
And it's just the wrong answer. It's just the wrong answer.
No, yeah, the middle is the best. That's our official position.
Well, then Divac just blew my mind by telling me that there's like these pans that are made in a specific shape so that when you cook them, it's nothing but edges. And it's like, how do you do that? What kind of Tesseract pan is this?
It's fucked up. It looks like the cool S.
It's just like a spiral.
And it's like Uzumaki, the brownie. And how do you even spatula that out? Except, like, endlessly.
Like, you've got to scoop it out like you're trying to get a snake out of it or something.
You gotta cut it in the pan.
What kind of damn Giga pans are you guys using? Jesus, I keep scooping it. I can't stop scooping these brownies.
Who scoops the brownie out all at once without cutting it first?
You go not toward it, it pulls you towards it.
Garbage pan.
Sounds like some people need some new brownie pans.
I don't. Mine are fine. I don't have to snake my brownies and make them all.
Yeah, I don't need any extra...
I do need one, but I need a brownie pan, like one.
Yeah.
I feel like basically our dad would have like eaten the frosting off Joseph, and then he would have been like, anyway, I'm gonna put it in this snake pan, and then we just like crack him one.
No, here's the thing. We go into his house and we're worried about the whole religion thing, and that's fine, but then he breaks out like the Tesseract pan and we just go running.
I was like, I knew you Jesus people were weird and leave.
I would like to see like a 3-dimensional pan that goes like in 4 different directions.
I don't believe that's how batter works, but yeah.
The Mobius brownie?
A hyper pan?
Yeah. I want a mold that you put your brownie into, and then you have to break that open.
No, that's like some Food Network shit. You gotta like put it into a rotisserie, and it's like constantly rotating so that it doesn't like all fall on one side, and it makes like a brownie sphere. Anyway.
We're getting into like theoretical brownie physics.
Yo! I just found the best fucking thing.
I'm gonna say you didn't, just off the bat, but go ahead.
No, get out of here!
No, cursed image, cursed. Get that off the goddamn thing. No, do not.
For those of you wondering what's happening at home, Turbo C has just linked a Garfield cake pan in our Discord chat.
And it just fills the entire Garfield.
I want to say I actually had one of those.
Where would you even buy that?
No, I don't mean I had as in I bought it. I mean like my mom made it for me or some shit.
I'm looking up where to buy it right now.
Okay, we need to move on.
Like, I found it buried in my front yard when I was looking for gold. Or
End of date 1.
This is why the lost episode took us like 1 hour and 45 minutes.
I know. Between date 1 and 2, I'm sorry I talked about brownies. Amanda gets her acceptance letter to that college that she wanted to get into. We have a burrito together. It's that part of the story. And at the beginning of date 2, we get our coupons in the mail, and we are thinking about hanging out with Joseph because we find a coupon for brownie batter, and the type of date that we imagine, which is like not a date, is going to the grocery store to use the coupons, which again is like very like non-sexual friendship date thing, like not, it's, I feel like you could make it to this point and not feel any romance toward Joseph and just feel like, oh, he's my friend, we're friends. And, so we're we think about how he wanted to, like, spend some time and just hang out and do, like, something fun that's not, like, for the church or for work or whatever. And so we text him, and he's like, oh, I really wanted to hang out, but tonight is this youth group mixer, and I really need help. I need more chaperones. Please come help. Please come bring Amanda and help us. And we ask Amanda if she wants to go to this church thing, and in the most uncharacteristic for a teen thing that Amanda has done so far, she's like, sure, I might make some new friends.
At a dance with her dad, and she's 18.
No, this is the least believable teen thing that Amanda has done so far. Like, she's very grounded, but she's not this grounded.
Nope.
No one is.
This is written by people who don't have 18-year-old children.
Yeah. So, but she goes. I mean, she doesn't even go because she thinks, like, it'll be funny because something will go wrong, which would be a teen reason to go. But we arrive at the church. It's early. It hasn't started yet. And we walk into the gymnasium or whatever hall that they have, and there's a banner that's been stapled to the stage.
What does the banner say? Who wants to do the honor?
Jesus is cuming. Because Ernest didn't do the full 2 M's, so...
This is, I think, the most explicit joke we've run into so far, even though it's not quite explicit or anything.
I'm mad at Ernest here for not going for the full nut.
Just, yeah, right? Like, there you have it. Just get out of there. Go the full 9 yards.
Just quick aside, episode title, Going for the Full Nut.
Full nut, let me write that down. Yeah, it's okay.
There we go. Yeah, it's just... oof. It's one of those... I like how Ernest moves things along in this episode. We're like, hey, if we need any comedy, we're going to refer back to Ernest doing something wacky.
Yeah, we haven't interacted with Ernest and Hugo at all yet, so this is all like, whoa.
What I will say, so what I like here is that you have to fix the sign, and your options are to make it Jesus is cumin, Jesus isn't, like, cuming, or Jesus is calming. And it is just awesome that you, like, the most obvious thing is to turn the U into the O and make it Jesus is coming. But, like, that's just not an option.
Yeah.
That's pretty funny.
It doesn't even occur to us.
Right, that's great. Or Joseph or anyone. It's just, like, we just live in the world where it's like, yeah, no, I don't know. I guess we'll have to go with one of these.
I like the idea of, like, this should have been another minigame. Make your own. Because mine was... what was it? Jesus is Alan coming.
Yeah, Turbo made a bunch of images, that are better than the options that we had.
Because I love Spy Kids so much.
Yeah. But yeah, we get Jesus is calming. You could have cut the banner.
Yeah, like, you're supposed to be, like, Guy and, the super dad, and you don't have a pocket knife to cut down the banner. Doubting your super dad status.
Weren't they like, didn't they say it was like super strong staples that he put in or something like that?
The staples are strong, but the material isn't. Just cut the material.
Yeah, no, I just love that. I love that they put in that, like, oh no, we can't take it down because of that.
I can't pull these staples out. What will I do with this paper banner?
What will we do? So we handled that problem, I guess, if that's what you want to call it, and then...
we handled Jesus coming.
DJ Spin Master Quinn. The DJ arrives. His name is DJ Spin Master Quinn. In a game that... In the route where the guy you're dating is named Joseph Christensen, there's also DJ Spin Master Quinn, who is, you guessed it, a DJ who's depressed and has a lot of problems in his life.
This was my favorite part of the reading. I think I was one of the few people that actually enjoyed him, but...
I don't know. I liked it too because of just, like, yeah, it's a trope, but he's got his own art and he's got that kind of, like, half smile, half, like, on the edge, and he's pointing and finger guns and whatever, but he's got lines. It's like, I am really sad. I don't know.
His voice lines are just him saying, I'm really sad.
No, like, there are, like, a bunch of, lines for him, and it's great. Like, he's like, "Sad Master Quinn," and like,
I don't know, the sad DJ. I like it.
I actually didn't know this was a trope, but
yeah, yeah.
I feel like I've seen it in like multiple movies and TV shows, but I can't.
Yeah.
If you wanted me to refer to one, I'm like, nope, don't remember.
The closest I can think of is Steve Buscemi in The Wedding Singer.
Yes.
When he's supposed to give the
Okay.
best friend's toast,
There you
and
go.
he's like depressed and fucks it up, and then. But that's actually different because Adam Sandler, who's like the DJ guy, is like the one who saves it. You know, so it's let's call that an inversion of the trope. But
So I think last time we said like, but Joseph, I am DJ Spin Master Quinn, but Doctor, I'm Spin Master Quinn. I don't know. He has a bad situation with his wife. He only plays "Creep" by Radiohead for this fucking preteen dance. And he's just having a real bad time, and we go talk to him and with Joseph, and we tell him like, "Yo, my dude, this is not okay."
but they didn't license "Creep" by Radiohead for this, which is just the biggest shame.
They should have just licensed the line, "You're so fucking special." Or just repeat that over and over again to make all the Christian kids squirm.
Oh yeah, Amanda's like, if you listen, you can hear them, you can like see them all flinch when he says the swear, and I thought that was a funny line.
What if the CD starts skipping just around that one part?
You're so fucking.
Exactly.
I listened to the radio edit for so long that I didn't, like, the first time I heard the actual version, I'm like,
well, the radio edit never really fixed it. I don't know if that was like a New York thing. It was like, "You're so special." Like, I know.
Yeah.
Yeah, radio edits don't really.
Radiohead leaves the F in even though. You're so special. It's just the F with the blank.
Yeah, there you go. Right.
Oh, the effing and jeffing.
So flippin' special.
Oh my god. So, we talk. Joseph says that he does couples counseling. Ironic, no? And so Spin Master Quinn like cries into his arms, and he starts playing normal music, I guess, appropriate for the people that are there.
But the kids aren't dancing, and we have to do something about it. And
We
that
have
thing
to.
is pick multiple choice options for how to dance. And I did that.
Yeah, and we tell Amanda to leave because we're about to embarrass ourselves, and we don't want her to. We're like, "Remember me as I was."
This is such an undad thing, though, because you absolutely embarrassed the fuck out of your kid in that opportunity.
Oh, totally.
That's absolutely like, Amanda, you're gonna want to hang out here, and if you could just be like, if you could Facebook stream this so everyone on your feed knows what I'm doing.
If you could tie your kid to the chair as a dad, you would, and then bust your moves.
Yeah, basically.
but it really turned out that all the other kids were the ones embarrassed because we fucking nailed it.
Yeah.
Nailed it.
Unless you try and do that backflip, in which case there is an actual death ending again.
Yeah, you can die from dancing too hard.
Just keeping it too real.
Also, if you don't choose the right ones, you get well, not the bad ending, but you don't get an extra scene, and instead you fail to impress the teenagers, and Joseph has to create a group activity before they all get bored, and then you leave.
Aw. But if you get them all dancing, then Joseph is like, okay, great, this is all handled now. The other chaperones can take it from here. Come with me, I have a surprise. And all of a sudden, everything is equal parts sinister and romantic as he leads us back in the church to his office, where we don't know where we are. It's dark, it's kind of scary, and we don't know what's going on. It's definitely a little scary, and we're like, is he gonna kill us? Well, we don't think that, but we the player think that. And he has changed his office into not Margaritaville, but the Margarita Zone. He's got some tea lights up, and he's got a margarita machine, and we hang out.
So this was the real reason why he couldn't fix the banner in time.
Yeah, I think so.
Was he's like, oh, I gotta get the blender and the margarita mix down into my office.
So he and this is really over the top, right? We've hung out with him once, and he's like, hey, I made this elaborate thing that's because because we're friends and it's the Margarita Zone and I made this whole thing for you and I wrote Margarita Zone on the chalkboard.
Yeah.
Can I also point out how unromantic it is to be like, I made this whole thing for you? That is the thing that I really wanted and dreaming about is what I made for you.
Yeah, it's just, the whole thing is weird.
This is like a shitty, like, 80s movie, like, teenagers, like, trying to be like, look what I made for you. This cool ending scene where I made your favorite thing. Oh, wait, no, it's my favorite thing. Look, here's this bowling ball.
Yeah, exactly. It's Homer buying Marge the bowling ball. Totally.
I'm trying to think of what would he have done if he was trying to make it about us? Because, like, what are we into?
There's nothing. The problem is he's a blank slate.
Well, we said that we also liked Margaritaville and we wanted to, we liked that thing too.
He would have turned on the lights and he's naked and covered in frosting.
Oh, God.
That's what it... Or a big presentation, you're right, religious people are kind of weird or something.
I wrote Cypher on this bowling ball.
So this is like way over the top. Like everything if we weren't sure if we were romantic, we are now. Like this is romantic to do this. Like this is so much. And he's like, oh, I have like a flair for the dramatic. And it's just like, we're into it, which I super don't understand. Cause this is a lot. This is very fast. So I don't know if we start to get like, so we kind of get the vibe from our buddy Joseph that like he's down to cheat, like he's ready to do this.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Not gonna think this through.
He's like, well, if I get drunk enough.
Yeah. Here's a lot of tequila in this drink. Hey, let's see where the evening goes.
It's not cheating if you're drunk on sacramental wine. That's
then it's God's will. So yeah, we asked Joseph about what he was like before. He was a preacher, a youth minister, and he says that he took off as soon as he could leave home. He hitchhiked across the country. He got into a lot of trouble, apparently, and despite that, what he describes doesn't seem like the greatest life. It seems like actually like he had a lot of problems, probably a bad relationship with his family, all kinds of stuff like that. And, but he misses it. He is like, he wishes he could forget his problems and go back to that carefree life, even though it doesn't sound like very carefree. And we kind of, address this by being like, you don't have to relax. We can't relax all the time, but things are still great, right? And he doesn't seem very receptive to that idea. There is sexual tension, and we immediately break the sexual tension and leave.
Oh, and also what we mentioned in the Lost podcast was that there are, in addition to the Margarita Zone, there are additional Jimmy Buffett references all over the place that we keep. Like one of them is one of the options we have to choose. So we have to choose, like, either make the two correct references to Margaritaville or the incorrect one to Cheeseburger in Paradise, which gets so over the top in this episode. It almost feels like a Mabim reference that they're like, hey, we're going to put a lot of Jimmy Buffett in here, and we don't know why.
It's funny. It's hey, gamers. You all like Jimmy Buffett, right?
I want to know how much Jimmy Buffett research they had to do for this.
Well, I think it's 2 songs, but it's still it's a lot of research into those 2 songs.
Yeah, I mean, it's enough time has passed that, like, I mean, Jimmy Buffett was on Mabim Bam, so it's kind of like the moment has passed, but at the time that this came out, it was funnier. I don't think anyone could have predicted that they were actually gonna like have him on their show. So yeah, it's all right. It's a age appropriate reference.
Yes.
We get home, and Amanda has a tummy ache because she ate too much food at the dance. And what do we do? Oh, we're not done yet. Date 2's not yet over. We take a relaxing stroll and find ourselves once again at Jim and Kim's.
Sorry, my headphone jack fell out there for a
you're
second.
fine.
I
We can hear you.
I didn't see like the little speaker thing. I thought you all stopped talking. I was like, oh my god, what the fuck? And, okay, anyway, sorry. So now I have to keep this, but whatever.
And then we all say hello, slow beat at the same time. So we walk to Jim and Kim's. We find that Mary is there, being sad at the bar. We feel guilty that we had a sexual tension moment with Joseph, and we have the option to go talk to her or to not go talk to her. I think we all chose to go talk to her.
Which is bad.
I don't know what's the good option. We're in a bad spot. I don't know what the right answer is.
I mean, you do. It's to stop playing Dream Daddy.
Walk away, yeah.
Yeah.
Do an act of contrition, 5 Hail Marys. All right.
Yeah. So, yeah. The correct answer is to not have that situation happen in the first place, but we're here, and there's not a good answer now.
No, because if you try to be the nice guy, which is I think the route that I chose, where you get to be like, oh, we're just friends, and she's like, don't bullshit me. It's almost more offensive to her that you're like trying to pull one over and be like, I've been through this before, I know what you're doing.
But you kind of only have the option to be like you can openly criticize her marriage, right? Which is like, wow, let's not do that either.
She's probably have some sort of respect for that, though.
I don't know. Did you pick that? I didn't pick that. It was too mean. I couldn't be that mean. I couldn't just walk up to a drunk woman in a bar and be like, you have a bad relationship with your husband.
How about I fuck it for you?
Who, by the way, I'm banging.
So, whatever. It happens, and then it's over. It doesn't have any effect on anything. I guess it kind of makes our character realize that we do want to pursue a relationship with Joseph, where, like, before it was more ambiguous to us, I guess. And, we don't know how to feel about it. It also seems out of character for the type of person that we've seen our dad, characterized as so far. Like, he doesn't seem like the type of person that would pursue this relationship. Like, he seems like the type of person who would be like, hey, I'm attracted to you, but you're married, so let's talk about this.
We raised Amanda better than that.
Yeah. So we come home, and the between date 2 and date 3 is the scene where if you're a good dad, then Amanda tells you about her whole friendship explosion, and you make her a cake, you talk about high school bullshit, and then we move on to the beginning of date 3. Joseph owns a yacht. Joseph invites you to go out on his yacht. We say this to Amanda, and she's like, why don't we have a yacht? You don't get me anything. And we're like, we're paying for your college. And she's like, and how much does college cost? That's right, exactly the price of a yacht. And at this point in my notes, I wrote, Joseph, why don't you take your wife out on the yacht? You both clearly like adventure. What's going on here?
The adventure's gone in the marriage, though.
Because she's bored, and like, because she expresses that she's bored and unhappy, and he is also bored and unhappy. Like, they both want to live a more adventurous life, and it's like, if you both feel that way, then why don't you go do something fun together? I don't understand.
Oh, I thought you were going somewhere else with that, but yeah, no, exactly. Like, go on a yachting trip or something, you know. It's
not like one of them is like, everything's great and we should never be adventurous, and the other one is like, oh, I wish I could be adventurous. Like, they're both, like, bored. It's weird that they have the same problem.
Yeah, and also it gets to the issue of this game does not go too in depth on any of this stuff. So the issue may be, I'm just speculating, it may be that Joseph actually is gay. He's not bi. He's made an effort to be with a woman for a while, but he's realized in his later life that he's bi, so they're not doing anything anymore. In which case, that's just going to lead to resentment and them hating each other because, if they stay together, that they're living, something that isn't real. If they're
That's also something that I expected this. I mean, I figured this route wouldn't explicitly go for it, but I definitely, also expected it to kind of go that way, and that was more in, the whole thing of, oh, but it's taboo, and I got straight married even though I didn't love her, and, the whole thing.
Yeah, right.
But it didn't go there. It just leaves it. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because this game's not going to go that much in depth into, the details, especially the physical details of someone's relationship. They'll have a love scene, but they will not get into that much in depth with somebody's backstory.
Yeah, but I mean, there's a sex scene in this. It's a lot.
Oh yeah, they'll totally do it for your route, but they won't do it for like sort of like, hey, what's been going on in your past? They kind of back off on that.
I feel like it would violate an unwritten rule in Dream Daddy, actually, which is that the sexuality of the dads is never brought up. It's just treated as completely normal, you know?
Yeah, nobody ever says, like, hey, we're a bunch of gay dads.
Exactly, yeah. It just is what it is, even with Craig and all that stuff. So, and again, that's not even like, that's where I feel like they kind of wrote themselves into a corner a bit, because it is an issue here that he's married, straight married, and, you know, the religious thing. So it's, again, one of those, like, sort of, I don't know where we kind of, like, where we can write ourselves out of where we are.
But also, like, Dream Daddy always tries to be, you know, really sort of, you know, not uplifting, but at least it seems to be more positive about stuff.
Oh, yeah.
And, like,
yeah.
You can't always just be positive and happy and cute and fun when you are dealing with like significant issues that are going to lead to a lot of weight. And so they try to, I think them finding that balance sometimes doesn't work. And like, it's not bad. It's just sometimes you can't, it's difficult to try to stay on one level and still to balance this stuff.
I really feel like divorced Mary fixes a lot of this.
Yeah, Craig's divorced and everything works out with him. And like, I feel like we could have met Smashly and like we were all friends in college and it would have been a positive interaction.
Right. And Mary here, you could have like this love triangle or even like allude to some of these things without it having the gravity it does now. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like
you could totally still have bitter Mary as not like dominant bitter Mary, but like bitter Mary of like, I'm still kind of pissed off that my marriage ended, but you know, hey, it ended.
Bitter Mary now doesn't have a good point. You know, like, no, but no, I mean, but yeah, like you can do a lot here. I don't know. I mean, and I guess that violates what they were going for in the first place with the taboo thing. So it's just, this is a mess. This is just a mess, and at least kudos to them for getting what they did out of it. But you can see what the problems were.
Yeah, it's all over the place in some parts that it would have been better to go one way or go another way. So we get on the yacht. We're on the yacht. We take our shirt off, which seems like a bad move, but okay. And then we immediately put it back on because we don't want to get sunburned, I believe, or something like that. And we like comment about Joseph while he's steering the boat, and we kind of talk like he's older than us, like he's kind of having a midlife crisis kind of age, and we're talking about it like we aren't like that. Okay. And welcome to the ocean. We're in the ocean now. We're out in the ocean. We go far enough that we can't see land anymore from wherever we are. And we sort of have a moment with Joseph about being on the ocean. We're afraid of whales. They make a bunch of jokes, and everything kind of settles, and we're like just about to real talk with Joseph about what the deal is with Mary when the engine starts making noise. That's right, we're out of gas. And in my notes I wrote, is this a plan? We have no phone service out here. So again, like, things happen on Joseph's route where you think you're gonna get murdered, and this was all part of his plan.
There's like, yeah. And there's like a thing, like, 'cause I know boat people, which was another tangent that we probably shouldn't go down again. But like, that you don't like, yeah, because the problem is you're out there stranded, and it's like, we got to get the radio out. And there's a fun mini game where the radio is broken and you have to fix it. But that's not a situation like someone who's serious about boating would be in.
Never.
You know what I mean? Like, yeah, they're like super serious about, no, you have a way to communicate because.
Yeah, the radio would be their first thing to fix. Like, before you got the engine running, you'd make sure you had a good radio.
Yeah. It's like, hey, how slow do you want to die? You know what I mean? Like,
right.
It's not. Yeah. The boaters do know that.
Starve to death in the ocean, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like, yeah. I don't get boat culture and all that, but, like, that's one thing I'll give boaters, is they know to know how to communicate, whatever.
Yeah, day one of boat class. Make sure that radio's working.
Last time we came down hard with our stance that boat people are assholes. People who own yachts are assholes. I don't think that's a controversial thing to say on this podcast.
Oh God, we need to talk about this.
All right, let's move on because we're already at like an hour and a half.
Yeah, we're going down that route. Let's keep it going.
All right, we're gonna have to cut this episode in half. I'm sorry. So there's a mini game. We get you get a rank S plus no matter what you do, I believe. You just put a bunch of shit in the radio, like Surgeon Simulator style.
You have to quote, I'm like, you can't see my air quotes, fix the radio, but you're really just taking like the tools, and one of them's like half of a coconut, and dropping them in this polygon model of like an open radio. And there's a physics engine, but nothing does anything, and there's nothing you can really do. But yeah, exactly. S plus.
You did it. So, then Joseph's like, hooray, let's go get, some wine to celebrate. And there's wine, and we go look for the wine, and we go, into the bedroom of this yacht, or the lower level of this yacht. And there's, it's, messy. There's clothes on the floor, and, the bed isn't made, which is weird. And, we start to get the impression that he's living on this boat, but we don't quite put it together yet. We can look at everything again. We can see some photos of all the dads in the neighborhood, and we see in one of the photos Robert is wearing a sweater that belongs to Joseph.
Yep.
And I think this is, really the only bit in this route, I think, because you can do something in Robert's route that kind of implies it as well, but the implication is that Joseph had an affair with Robert in the past. Which would explain why Mary, calls you fresh meat and, is on to this immediately again. Because this has already happened to her before.
Yeah, and it puts in context Robert's objection to Joseph calling him Rob. There's, you didn't pick up on it before, but there's definitely some, tension between the two of them.
So, we also find more of those hot body mystery books. So they're Joseph's books also. We have also read them, and we call him out on reading those books later. But we bring up the wine, and we talk about the mystery books. We, joke about it, and, Joseph finally says, that him and Mary are getting a divorce, and he got kicked out of the house, and he's living on this boat. Oh no. And, we're I guess to us this means alright, it's wide open, they're separated, that means it's okay for me to sleep with this guy. Which, alright. And we, have a moment where, we're about to kiss, and then we realize that the Coast Guard has been listening to us this whole time, because we have been leaning on the button for the radio. And, the Coast Guard is wait, aren't you guys gonna kiss? And we're what? And they're we're a very professional Coast Guard. We definitely weren't just listening to you to see what would happen. We'll come pick you up in the morning. And this is, really unrealistic, but it was very funny to me. I thought that was a really funny joke.
Yeah, no, that's a good joke.
Yeah, that was very funny. The Coast Guard, being interested in how this romance plays out.
Yeah, right.
So, then we sleep with Joseph, and it's, a whole thing. there's, a kiss scene, and it's hot and heavy, the whole thing, and we fade to black.
I just want to mention, in this route, I also slept with Robert, so, I want to put it out there. So... Joseph Hunter gets around.
Yeah, jeez.
I did not get an achievement for that, though. Oh, no, I did. I'm sorry. I did, yeah. That's why I did it, actually. But whatever. Anyway.
Well, don't tell him that.
I knew it. I knew there was an ulterior motive.
He doesn't care. Robert was just totally this for the achievement, right? I'm yeah.
Yeah, Robert. He would. So, we sleep with him, and, instead of just, bouncing us out, we have we wake up in the morning and we're still together, and we still talk and kiss and stuff, and then we leave the boat, and we're gonna see him again, I guess. I don't know. Then that's it. And okay. And then it goes to Amanda's graduation party, and it's the ending. There's the graduation party, there's an ice cream cake, Mary's there. Why? Why is she there? Why? You didn't have to do that, Mary. You didn't have to.
Can I kind of talk about what happens here? Because this is where I really felt like that, first of all, we're in the wrong for pursuing this, but also Joseph is in the wrong because they have that whole kind of redemption thing on the boat where it's like, oh, it's over between me and Mary, we're getting a divorce, and then we meet up with Joseph at the party again, and he's like, actually, we're not getting a divorce. I'm like, excuse me? What?
Yeah,
Did you just tell me you were getting?
Shit. Yeah.
Did you just tell me you were getting a divorce to get in my pants? Is that what's going on?
We'll never know.
But also, like, I mean, that's always the wrong thing to say if there's any chance of getting back together. So you were just full of shit. Whether or not it was like deliberate, where the person was trying to manipulate someone else to seduce them. Either way, you don't say you're done with someone when you're not done with someone. That's right up straight up wrong. And that, I mean, this route shouldn't end with you getting Joseph because come on.
But even outside of that, all that shit on the boat with the running out of gas and the radio being broken and the wine in the bedroom, and it's like, is this just a thing that he does? Just to get people out on his boat?
It sure feels like it. It sure feels like it.
Yeah, you could definitely read it that way.
I don't think he does it insofar as, like, this is his way of, like, cheating on his wife and getting away with it, or, like, sleeping around. I think it's more that he's just kind of weak-willed and doesn't know what he wants, and it's like, oh, I did it again, that kind of thing.
Yeah, I mean, that's how it works in real life.
Also, we're kind of a shit in this route, too, because we do have those moments of... It's such a wishy-washy thing, where it's like, well, yeah, this is kind of weird, or maybe I shouldn't do this, but then you just fucking do it. It's like the BoJack Horseman method.
It's like, yeah, it's like... And, like, I know it shouldn't be this way, but it is also like, hey, they have 4 kids. Like, if you're, like, kind of, like, I don't know, I'm kind of a homewrecker and shit, it's like, maybe then this is really kind of really shitty of you to pursue,
And, Amanda, we never tell Amanda about this. Amanda never picks up on it. Amanda never has anything to say about that. And I think it's all kind of, like, this big picture of, like, this is gross and bad, and it feels out of character for the dad that we've built up so far.
Well, she does mention a couple times, did make good choices, and did you make good choices? But then you lie to her face.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
The obvious answer being fucking no, of course we didn't.
Or we're just idiots. We're just like, yeah, I made good choice. What? What's the bad choice here again? I didn't kill him.
Well, what's good and bad, really, though?
I didn't join the Dragon Lord. It's like, no, Dad, that's totally no.
And then we pout about it. And I wrote in my notes, I even wrote, we're sad about it, but I'm not sad about it. This is the good ending. And we're like sad and throwing a fit. And we're like, this ice cream cake is my new boyfriend. Fuck off.
So we get the A rank, which is the highest rank you can get with Joseph, period.
No, you can get an S.
You can. Oh, that's right. You got an S, right?
S for sin.
If you bring up the book,
Yeah.
then we talk on the boat. That seemed to be the trigger.
But it's the same outcome, though, right?
Yeah.
I did that, and I just got an A rank.
Yeah, so what happens is like, we didn't have a good walkthrough. I don't know if there is one to easily find for the best walkthroughs, and so I think we all ended up with sort of weird half choices, but Turbo got the good one.
All right. Well, there you go.
Turbo, you gotta write a walkthrough for Joseph.
No, I don't want to do it again.
No difference, though, right? Like, you still don't end up...
No, the S rank, the grades don't do anything.
So there is an achievement that no one has unlocked, that it seems like you can't unlock it, and, like, it's been data mined since, where there is allegedly an ending called, what is it, like, Welcome to Margarita Zone or something like that?
Yeah.
And, yeah, I don't know, I read it a couple weeks ago, and I kind of forget it, but it's like...
Do we want to talk about it, or do we want to split the podcast for Joseph?
I'm okay with splitting it.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, I feel like we could.
Alright, so... Final thoughts about Joseph's canon ending.
It sucks. It's a mess. Divorced Mary would have fixed so much. I don't know why they make it a point to bring her back at the barbecue just to be pissed and angry at you.
I think better canon ending would have been, you don't end up with Joseph, but you also don't sleep with Joseph.
I feel like the good ending should be that you, like, stopping when he wants to have sex with you and being like, no, like, you're, like, you need to figure things out with your wife.
Yeah.
And you have, like, a real talk with him about how he needs to grow up.
There's like, that's a good point, because I feel like they want to go for the romance novel, like, it's so sinful you're gonna, like, hook up with, like, a married person, but there's too much gravity and it's treated too seriously that you could just kind of, like, lose yourself in something like that. It's like, it just doesn't feel right at all.
Yeah, like, in our first 2 dates, we had, like, the guys that had problems, and we helped them. And then here, it seems like we're just enabling him to continue his problem.
Okay, no, I got it. Best ending for Joseph. We end up with Spin Master Quinn.
Spin Master Quinn is also married.
Oh shit! Damn it!
But I could lose myself in Spin Master Quinn.
But he actually gets the divorce.
I am so divorced.
But no, here's what happens. Date 2, you find out the wife died.
No, that doesn't make it okay. You can't fridge the wife.
Yeah, nope. Also, that's like we can't have deaths in any of these because it's so like trope. Like, oh, look at this gay love story where somebody has to die to make things right.
Well,
so you're saying Spin Master Quinn is just doomed to be unhappy?
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Not I'm reprogramming this. I'll figure it out. I'm ROM hacking Dream Daddy.
In the multiverse, damn it, there's one ending where he's okay.
I'm gonna use Android things somehow to make this work. Anyway, that's like a joke one person will get out there. But anyway, whatever.
So yeah. Overall, this is a problem that, I mean, it's not unique to Dream Daddy, which is like a dating game or romance game having a taboo romance option, but then having it make you feel like shit for picking it the whole time. And I don't really know who wins in that situation. Like, if you want the taboo, then, then indulge in that fantasy, and, like, but it feels like it's not willing to go one way or the other in visual novels in general.
Yeah, I feel, and maybe, like, you know, I don't know, I don't, like, I feel like if you're going with the romance option, the romance novel is kind of option of the taboo thing, the wife can't find out. It has to be your secret thing. There can't be fucking kids involved. Drop the religion thing. And it can't be Dream Daddy the game at all, because it doesn't quite work.
Yeah.
You know, like, it's just, I think I'm, like, overstating it. It's just kind of a mess, yeah.
Yeah. An ending where we, like, call Joseph out and say, like, no, I can't do this, I think would have been really satisfying, at least to me, in my playthrough. But we know that there was an ending that was cut that kind of puts some of these pieces together in a way that definitely paints everything in a different light.
A very, very different light.
Yeah, and it's enough that we would need to discuss it on its own, so we will do that another time.
Yes.
So next time, we'll talk about Joseph's cut true ending. You can look it up on YouTube if you want, and watch it. It happened. I can understand why it was cut, but I wouldn't say that it was particularly problematic one way or the other. It's not like, it's just too scary. It's too scary for the game, but yeah. Somebody dies. I mean, it's not appropriate for the game.
Yeah. And yes, we'll save it for that. And the next route we're going to do is Damien. So if you want to read through Damien next time.
Yeah.
Yeah, it might be helpful, I think, for us too. Maybe if we like do like a first night or two of Damien, because like I don't know how much material we're going to squeeze out of the Joseph cut ending.
Yeah.
Well, this is an hour and a half plus the 20 minutes we already have, so we might actually do, like, an hour and an hour, you know?
Sure, that's fair. All right, well, in that case, I'm not reading shit. Don't worry about it.
Okay.
We'll just pretend we read.
Next out is Damien, if this ends up this way. Or, yeah, because when they hear this, it'll either be Joseph Part 2 or Joseph Part 1-B or whatever.
All right. Thanks, everybody.
See you later.
Good night.
Dream on, daddies. I guess. No, that's bad.
Nope.
No,
No.
I feel it.
No, well, you're sorry.
You and Turbo floating down that stream by yourself.
Overruled.
Oh, it's
okay.
too late. We're already lost at sea.
All right, I'm hitting stop.